There seemed to be some palpable tension at the funeral for former President Jimmy Carter, as Jill Biden seemingly gave Kamala Harris the cold shoulder. When Jill arrived with President Joe Biden to sit in the front pew, Vice President Harris was already seated next to her husband Douglas Emhoff. The First Lady and Vice President appeared to be acting icy toward each other. They didn't even exchange cursory pleasantries as the Bidens sat down. Harris did offer up a funeral program to Jill at one point, but then immediately stiffened and stared straight forward. Even CNN noticed the tense feeling.
You didn't see a particularly warm greeting between the first couple and the second couple.
Not only was the initial greeting standoffish, but Jill and Harris didn't exactly seem to get much closer through the rest of the ceremony. Perhaps unsurprisingly, clips of Harris and Biden were shared across the internet. One X-user described Jill as looking visibly aggravated to be seated so close to Harris. Meanwhile, a YouTube commenter wrote, "Jill hates Kamala." And another said, "This feels like Game of Thrones."
Dracarys.
This isn't the first suggestion we've seen of a feud between Jill and Harris either. A month earlier, Jill took the rumors to the next level when she iced out Harris at the Kennedy Center honors. The Bidens showed up to the event after Harris and her husband had taken their seats. As Jill and Joe were showered with applause, they took time to wave to the crowd from several angles, but did not acknowledge Harris. The first post-election public appearance by Jill Biden and Kamala Harris was at a Veterans Day event at the Arlington Cemetery in Virginia. This time around, it was Harris who arrived as Jill was already seated. Again, though, people noticed that Jill did not extend pleasantries or even acknowledge the vice president's arrival. After greeting others, Harris took a seat next to Jill, but shifted over closer to her husband to create distance. Several X-users noticed that Jill appeared to freeze Harris out. One wrote, "Very frosty, I could feel the chill from my phone." Meanwhile, Jill appeared to throw shade at Harris by repeatedly using the word joy at a White House event on December 11, 2024.
We all need to feel joy now.
Even journalists in attendance could not help but titter at the First Lady's usage of the word that Harris had often employed during her presidential campaign.
You're all reading into that.
Later that month, tensions between Harris and the Bidens were highlighted in a report from the Wall Street Journal. According to the publication, the post-election rapport has been frosty between the Bidens and the vice president. Reportedly, though, Jill's distaste of Harris dates back to June 2019, when Joe and his future running mate were opponents during the Democratic primaries. While debating, Harris had attacked Joe's handling of desegregation busing policies, and it seems that Jill never forgave her for using this tactic.